guys. We're here at Katalyst 2014. Make some noise, everyone. Yeah, and so we're here to basically tell you guys what's going on at Katalyst 2014 and to just basically share with some of the people who are involved in making Katalyst happen this year. So at first we're going to go around the table and just introduce ourselves. So we'll start with you, Don.
My name is Don Jensen. I'm actually here running games. I'm doing a 3.5 mixture of AD&D and 3.5, very role-playing centric type game. And then I'm also here supporting my wife, we got R&D chainmail booth over here, and where she makes dice bags and jewelry and stuff like that. And it's great to get back out to a convention where I can play again and not just walk around a giant vendor hall all the time, which some of the other conventions have turned into. So
yes. And next we have Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris Oliva. I run Katalyst Gaming, where we're at right here. Been running shows for better side of a decade now. We're really excited to be putting this show on this weekend. Everybody's come out, showing us great love. Right. All these guys around me can't put on the show without them. So I mean, love it.
Nice.
My name is Clint Voppel. I'm the U.S. rep for Kabuki Models, and I'm out here to pimp our Kickstarter, which starts October 15th, and to support Chris and Katalyst, and hopefully get this thing steamrolling into a massive convention where people are clawing each other's eyes out to get in. And of course, to help out Al, and watch him carefully.
Be nice. Be nice.
Nice, and Al.
I'm Al Maldonado of Games and Things, a little hobby store. My girlfriend and I opened 3 months ago in Elmwood Park. She's out in the audience right now, so we can give her a little love. Love point two, so to speak. We're here supporting Chris, who actually came in our store about a week after we opened and said, "Hey, how would you like to?" And I was like, "Why wouldn't we want to do
Right,
phenomenal?"
Yeah.
We came in last night. Actually, yesterday morning. We came in yesterday morning.
Wow.
And I mean, like you were talking about earlier, it's just you feel this electricity in the place. And I had a blast from the second I got here.
Right, yeah.
So we're hoping for the rest of the weekend to continue on. We'll be exhausted by the end of it all, but it's going to be phenomenal.
Well, I think that's how you can tell when a convention is going really well. When you look and you see the fatigue on people's eyes, and you know they've been gaming hard for at least a day.
Right. Perfect example right here. Perfect example. He was gaming.
Yeah. So and I've only been here for a few maybe an hour or so, and what I can tell is that, like you were saying, it's really electric here. Everyone's positive about it. Everyone's having a great time. So I'm just really glad to be a part of this. And my name is Myron. I'm here from the Show podcast. And what I'm here to do is to capture Katalyst 2014 just so we can share it to a wider audience on the Games and Things Facebook page and anywhere else that you guys would like to share it. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. And first, I think what we should do is talk about Katalyst. So what is Katalyst, and anything you'd like to say about it?
The Katalyst Gaming Convention 2014 is a show we've been working on for quite a while. We've been planning this out, slowly over the years, wanted to get it just right, needed to find the right guys to really come on out and help us put this together. We have miniatures, we have board gaming, we have card gaming, we have RPGs. We like very equal representation. We have a lot of local new games that haven't even hit production. They're testing here, just really enforcing that local gaming scene, here in the greater Chicago area, out here in St. Charles. Trying to get everybody the exposure they need, get all these great people together, game, and just have a good time.
Awesome.
Clint? Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was taking the torch. The same thing. I mean, when Chris approached me, actually through Al, we got in contact with each other, and it's exactly what he said. It's grassroots effort to really start from the beginning, which is something I've never done. I've been to a bunch of conventions before, and you kind of get pulled in like a river, and you're just kind of soaring through all these vendors, and like Ron was saying, Ron, right? Don, which is D, Don.
It's okay.
All right, I think I beat myself up for it. But it's awesome to be part of something, building something, and to be able to watch it grow. And this is year one, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to add to what Clint was just saying, there's nothing like being on the ground floor of something you believe in and that you see the potential for it. And then when you get together with all the guys and the ladies who are here,
There are ladies here, by the way.
there are,
Yeah, oh,
there
yeah.
are
Yes.
We
some very
promise.
nice-looking ladies as well. But no, yeah, when you get together with these people, you get to know them, and you feel the energy, you feel the love and the passion for what they're doing. It's amazing. I mean, it really inspires you and it really motivates you. So I want to say thank you to Chris for walking in by happenstance, I guess, in our store and just helping us, develop what we're going into and what I see Katalyst going into. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's amazing, to see something come from the very beginning, and that growth. I think the potential is here. Everyone's here and super engaged, and I think there's going to be several catalysts to come in the future. I can feel it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're really pumped about this weekend. Anyone that's come out this weekend so far has just gone out of their way to tell us how much they love this show, how excited they are that this show exists, that there's some of the Chicago area. There's a lot of game groups out there that are, maybe on the fence about coming out, but we want you to come. We want you to take a look around and really just take it in. That electricity, you just step in the door and this is going to be something special.
Right. Absolutely.
One of the things I enjoy is that it's not as commercial as, we're all here to pump up, our own selves, our own brands and whatever we've got going on, but it's not in your face, here, take this, here, buy that, here, look at this. It's all a very supportive, as you were saying, grassroots effort. Everybody being supportive of each other and helping out. Exactly,
Yes.
very community based.
Exactly.
And I love that feel. Because at our store, at Games and Things, that's what we try to do. We try to make it a community, not just come on in. Oh, here, why don't you take a look at this game? And here, why don't you buy that game? It's all about the community and what we can all do together.
Right.
So that's what I love about this. It's awesome.
It's getting back to the roots of gaming, what it used to be.
Right,
Now,
you mentioned that last night.
yeah, we were talking about this last night. It's what conventions used to be when you would go is you were going there to play games with people. You weren't going there to look at 15 sword stands and from the same company in 15 different locations. You were going there to find new games to play or going there to meet up with your friends. For me, I was running a game last night. I had buddies coming from college. I haven't gotten to see these guys in a couple of years and play, and we got to sit down, and it felt like it did 10 years ago when I was sitting there at a table with them playing in college. And that's phenomenal because you just don't get to do that anymore.
Right.
And it's hard to connect anymore with your friends because we got busy lives.
Absolutely.
The economy's in a tank, this and that, so you got to do what you got to do, and that means you sacrifice that time with your friends, and that's what a place like this allows you to do.
Right.
That's a good point too, because like a lot of conventions you go to, and you do go there to game, and as much gaming as you can because your schedule's so busy, you have all these things going on, and you want to pack in as much game as you can in that limited amount of time. And one thing I tend to notice, which is good and bad in certain circumstances, but you go to these giant conventions and you get so torn apart and like roaming through and buying things, and you kind of forget. You're like, oh shit, I'm here to game.
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
be fucking gaming right
Exactly,
now,
yeah.
instead of walking and buying shit.
You get the
So-
Sunday afternoon at 6 o'clock, you're like, damn it, I didn't do anything.
Yeah,
I didn't pull my dice out of the bag.
So like that's a very valid point to bring up. So we should. Why are we doing this podcast?
We should get the books out and the dice so we can play while we're talking.
Still
Yeah.
have to do something.
Right.
But we will be getting back to the game. I mean, we've got a lot of great games out here, from Magic, from the board games that we were playing Zombicide last night.
Oh, wow.
And what? We were doing the Zombicide at the store on
Right,
Wednesday,
right.
and we did it again last night. It was a much bigger group.
Right.
And how much more fun was that afterward? It was fantastic. Yeah, and again, it's like as you were alluding to, Don, you get to meet people and people that you connect with, and you may not see them for a while. So, like for example, I met some people last night, and I'm not going to see them every day.
Right.
But once you see them again, right, it's just like, yeah, remember when we did this, and you've got that, connection, and it's fantastic.
And even just me and you meeting, like
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
going to come into your store. I live locally near where you're at, and I haven't had a chance to do so. After meeting you, it's a very friendly person. I'm like, oh, now I actually want to go see this place. It's not just going to be another little cookie cutter store that's been built to try and sell me merchandise. It's almost like a place I can go play at, and that's what I was looking for because that just doesn't exist
Yeah,
anymore.
they're a dying breed.
Yeah, well, we were actually talking about a place we used to go to way back in the day that
back in the
closed
day.
out, and it's like, it's just weird, you have this community that kind of disappeared for a while there because people got attached to their phones or whatever, and they sunk into this world that they just don't play anymore, and we need that. Kids, it's not even us. We're fine because we had all that.
Right.
It's the kids that need it because these
Yeah, but
kids
Mama
are
needs
these
medicine,
walking forward through life, not doing anything, and it's like, go do something. Go think outside the box, play a game, make some stupid character that's going to go do some dumb thing off the wall. That's what the point of it is. It's doing all the stuff that you can't do in real life because you'll go to jail for it.
Right, exactly.
That's what the game's for.
And it's funny you say that because we've had some people come in and they're like, "Oh, do you have any video games? Maybe you should do some videos and stuff like that." And I'm like, "No, because no offense, that's mindless entertainment, right?" But when you play these games, D&D, though I don't play D&D, I see the guys at our store who do play, and they're having a ball. They're laughing, they're joking. And then when we play, we do either 40K or Dystopian Wars at our store. I mean, yeah, exactly. But the camaraderie that you build in there. Like, one of the guys would be just getting pounded by the other guy. And, all the back and forth and stuff, all that interplay is just phenomenal. And you don't get that in video play.
Well, and that's where something like this, a convention that's coming in to make you play games is great because now we can, I have memories from the game last night we played. And those are things that me and my friends are going to talk about for years of, remember when this dumbass did this in the game? Or, and that's what gaming is, when it's so sad but good at the same time when you get together with your friends after a couple of years and the first thing you talk about is, man, you remember when your thief stole that thing from that level 20 guy?
Right.
And then you end up getting almost the entire party killed. Wasn't that great? Not how are your kids doing? You remember when your thief did that?
Right. I think as you guys are talking, one thing that's really I sort of been thinking about is, the idea of meeting real people. And just having an experience with real people. I went to Gen Con and a couple other conventions that are larger. And, when you're there, it's like, all right, so I got to go to the exhibition hall. The exhibition hall is like 3 football fields in size. What else can I do? Where are the games at? And it's mostly walking around trying to get places. It's good from one aspect, but actually discovering new games, discovering new experiences is not there. So, for example, if you wanted to go there and play 2nd edition D&D, out of 1,000 people that got there, there's maybe one game playing for 2 hours of old-fashioned D&D.
On Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning in Exhibit Hall C out in the middle of the stadium, in the middle of nowhere.
And everything is I describe it as kind of fucked out because everything is one type of game, it's all cookie cutter, and you can't go to those kinds of conventions anymore and discover new games.
Well, and that's what's great about this is this feels so. Before I went to Gen Con for my first time, which was back in '99, was the first time I went to Gen Con. Right, I heard all these stories about that, where it sounded just like this feels.
Right.
And you hear these stories where Gary Gygax started in his front room. It moved to a Foreign Legion hall, and then it moved to Milwaukee and so on. And what happened was he disassociated from it, and it became this vendor convention, which is what I don't believe this will happen here. I think this is a gaming convention, and that's what it needs to be. We need these gaming conventions to bring the community together because we don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that community. It's such a good thing.
And kudos to Chris for sticking his chin out there because it's a blow to the chin. When you set this up in the ground floor and you're like, all right, let's get this going. There's a lot that can go wrong. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. There's a lot of money that goes into it, and just headache, drinking. You got to just drink yourself into a hole for a while. You go through the whole cycle. So.
Right.
I've been excited because he's, Chris is married to my sister, and he's been talking about this for years, and I've been like, when the hell's it gonna happen? When the hell's it going to happen? Because this is, I've been involved with this other convention with Collision, and my wife does a booth there, and it's I'm like, that's fun, but that's not really my thing. Whereas this, I came in here, and yesterday, our game we were playing, we were supposed to go to 10, and I think it was around midnight when my one buddy's like, dude, I gotta go take my meds and eat something, and it's oh crap, well, I think we should probably move on from here. And that's what's great about something like this. You sit down, you start playing, and all of a sudden, you just I had no idea what time it was. We didn't look at our phones. We're just playing and trying to figure stuff out.
It's funny you said because we're playing Zombicide. There's 6 or 7 of us, and next thing you know, I look at my phone holy crap, that's the time. I gotta run. Yeah, I literally was running out the door because I literally had to run out, and I mean it was. But you get lost.
Yes, you
get
do.
Lost in it, and that's the beauty of it. It's there's so much shit going on out there anyway.
Yeah.
It's just I coached football for a long time. I always had a coach, and he always say, this is the place you come to to get away from reality.
Right.
And that's the wonderful thing about this. This is where you come to, and same with our store, same with with here. It's like, this is where you come to escape all that nonsense.
Right.
Because we got to deal with it anyway. But for at least a couple of hours, give me a break.
Yeah,
Right.
Give me a break.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly right.
Insanity keeps you sane.
Right. Because if not, I mean, let's be honest, we'll go home and beat our spouses.
I didn't know they do that anyway.
No comment on
Hey, she
that.
already had the
Or my kids did that.
Yeah.
Gotta tap
We'll
that
see who
time.
has the black eyes.
Exactly right. About 5 minutes from now.
So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you could not hit the table, the audio is.
Nice job,
All right,
Al.
Cool. So let's keep going. I just wanted to let you guys know that. So yeah, very real experiences, discovery, community. I mean, I think those are really solid things to start off a convention series, and I think Chris, you've been doing a great job to bring that to the forefront.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely.
We're very hard to do this. I mean, like everybody else has been saying, this show that we're putting together that's going on this weekend is very community based, very local based, and we love that. We love the grassroots, and I feel like there aren't very many shows out there. The few shows that started like that, like Don was saying, really don't do that anymore, and it is a huge risk to do a community show like this.
Right.
We're putting a lot on the line, but because we have faith in all these guys that come out.
Right.
And love that experience that they used to have, miss it. That's in Al's entire business model is all these guys and these new kids coming in that are getting this experience that you can't get somewhere else. You can't get it on a phone, can't get it online. I mean, I play video games. That's the era I grew up in. But this is something entirely different. This means something that you can take home. Like Don was saying, you're going to talk about this with friends forever.
Yeah, right.
You're going to remember this. Even if you showed up for an hour before closing and you sit down at some game you've never heard of, even if it was a terrible game, you still had fun.
Right.
You learned something, you made friends, and you're going to be talking about it. You're going to wish that you were still playing.
Right.
Yes.
That's the entire essence of a show like this.
And that is the beauty of it, because even if it's a game you play, and it's okay, but it's the people across the table from you that you were playing with that made it fun. I mean, not so much the game, but it's the people and the connection you made that made it fun, made it interesting.
Yeah.
All the clowning and whatnot. That goes on,
definitely
right?
clowning.
Yeah.
High levels of clowning. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're winning or losing or whatever. Getting a pounding is if you can talk your smack, then that's
Right.
90% of the fun right there.
Exactly right. And trust me, this guy does it very well. He does it with a smile while he's like literally choking the life out of you.
Right.
It's,
Nice way to kill somebody.
Right. And you know it well. Right.
Well, and you can also experience new games. For example, like I always wanted to get into Warhammer, and there's Warhammer games here where I don't have to necessarily make a giant investment before I start to play the game. I could try it out. I could see how much I really want to do this, and then I could sit down and play it. And that's nice. That's the nice thing about a convention like this too is, you just don't get to do that anymore. It's not as easily to I mean, well, except for your store. I can walk in there and do that too, but that's your new store. That's a fairly, it's in my area at least, that's new. We haven't had a gaming store. Actually, there's never been a gaming store in my town, so you're the first one there, and there hasn't been a decent one around for a very long time.
And that is one of the things we do. Is like I'm a gamer myself, and I know that you go in there to play, or at least before you spend the money. Because let's be honest, I mean, every hobby has a price cost to it, right?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
And it's like you pick your poison, but once you find it, it's like, do I really want to delve in with all that time, energy, and finances?
Absolutely.
So one of the things I like to do at our store, again, because I am a gamer and I understand that, is like, come on in, try it out. And then from there, you can get a feel for it to see if it's something you want to invest your time in.
Right.
And if not, we've got something else.
Yeah.
If that's not it, well, we can try something else if you really want to go that route. And and that's one of the things that I firmly believe in, because I spend a lot of time and a lot of energy on a lot of different gaming systems. Finally settled in on a couple of them, and that's where all my, as Christina will attest, that's where all our stuff, all my money goes, my spirit money goes to get that stuff.
She's just smiling over there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most awesome games that you guys have seen at Katalyst this year?
We have a vendor here, Jack Smack Games, that they're actually been running demos. They have 3 new games that they're beta testing here, play testing out. And how often do you get a chance to actually play test a new game that hasn't even begun the production steps?
Yeah.
They've been so busy that they can't even stop over here to say hi. They've been running back-to-back games. They're running 3 different games, all really cool. I know they're kicking off Kickstarters for 2 or 3 of them pretty much right after this show wraps up.
Right.
Wow.
The final throws on level it all out so they can put it out there and get people behind it so it can get out to the consumers. We have another vendor out here, Novus Magic. It's a really interesting, people like LARPs or RPGs.
Right.
It's like a phone app, for your smartphone where turns you into a wizard, more or less. You can collect items, collect gear, get slotted, go to different shows where they're at, get special equipment.
It's very interesting.
It's a very deep system
Right.
that they would be able to tell you way more about than I would.
Yeah, I actually put the beta on my phone yesterday, and it's pretty neat. I mean, it's definitely got a learning curve, but I kind of appreciate that because I'm an old school gamer, and D&D Advanced had a learning curve. It wasn't made so that some guy can walk and go button, and that's it. This is we got enough of those people like that. So that this game you have to, and you can appreciate the complexity of it because it's like, oh wow, look at once you get good at it. Then you have something to brag about, like, well, look what I could do to you because you're not good enough,
Right.
And talking to him, he's showing me the app, and it's really cool. You're saying it's not just buttons, but they actually, it's so in depth that they attuned this app to like the surroundings and the environment, like the planets in the solar system. So, for example, if there's a special power that you want to cast on an enemy. And it's aligned with Jupiter for whatever reason. When Jupiter gets to a certain place in the sky, it actually picks up, it reads off of that and allows the power to be even more potent or more lethal.
Oh, and you can combine it so if you get like 4 guys that are focusing on the same ability, you can meet up at midnight when it's at the highest apex in the sky, and you can try and cast the spell, and all of a sudden it's 15 times more powerful or whatever because you guys are together doing an enchantment at the same time using that focus from it. I mean
that's how in depth it's gotten. So it's phenomenal.
That takes LARPing to like the next level because mine is
that's crazy.
Rock paper scissors.
Exactly.
To resolve conflict.
They have the what is the little DS or something they make now where you can like run into people on the street or something.
Right.
So it's like taking that, combining it with a LARP, and then adding D&D elements into it, and you're just like, holy hell, my head just exploded. It's like, what is this? And you think about the great part about it is I could be driving down the street, right? And there could be another player sitting in a car next to me, and I could snipe the son of a bitch, and he won't even know it. And I drive away, and he's got to figure out where I went. That's what's so cool about something like that.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's another game that I hope I can see out here is Firefly, which is based off the show Firefly.
Oh, do they have the Firefly? We were just talking, me and my buddies were just talking about it this morning. Oh, because that game is like you set it up. It's like 4 tables wider. It's a huge setup.
Yeah, that game is phenomenal. I mean, if you love the Firefly universe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even
and really, only Fox doesn't. So.
Only Fox doesn't. Exactly right. I mean, but
fuck Fox. But
every insignificant character in the show is in this game, which is phenomenal. Like guard number 3.
Yeah.
Guard number 3's there. He's a badass too, by the way. He is a badass, but he's in the game, which is fantastic.
Oh, it's too bad it's not here. I really wanted to try that one out. It's supposed to be a phenomenal game too. So, and I actually personally haven't gotten to try any of the beta games because I was running a game yesterday and then I was helping my wife with the booth. So I'm hoping that sometime today or afterwards I will be able to play some more other games. Actually, it's kind of funny. It's so silly, but the Laverne and Shirley game. For some reason, I saw that board game, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I got to try that.
I saw that game and I actually asked Elaine about it, and I'm like,
we've got
new and old school feel?
We just picked up these 2 really old games, Laverne and Shirley games out of the 80s, and we have a Dr. Ruth's Good Game of Sex. Game of Good Sex. We played that last night. It was intense.
All right,
It's just you have to play in couples. You're supposed to be actual couples, but it's an informative game along with being an actual game.
Oh, that's dangerous.
So you're learning all these really obscure sex, little pieces of information that you may or may not know, and it's from the early 80s, so the whole picture that it paints is just really interesting little time capsule.
Wow.
Spandex and Art Deco. Yeah.
Exactly right.
But I mean, discovering an old gem like that, and we won't say it's the best game in the world, but it's definitely interesting. You get people sit down. We had a line of people that wanted to play that game of good sex thing just because it's so straight, so obscure.
Right, and it's about sex.
Yeah, so I mean, we have these guys running. we got these.
Always get something.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Well,
definitely.
and that's where an environment like this plays itself so well is, where the hell else am I going to walk into something like that? It's like, I'm going to try this game out because I'm never going to see that. It's not going to be sitting on the shelf at Toys R Us or wherever you buy your board games
Right,
now.
exactly. Oh yeah, you'll never find that.
No, probably for good reason, but you'll never.
Yeah. True. Like liability, They don't.
Yeah.
Kids getting a hold of that, yeah.
Oh, that could be interesting, but illegal, but interesting.
Yeah. So we talked about some of the games that have been really, featured and awesome at Katalyst. So I wanted to take a little bit of time for you guys to talk about sort of what you do, like, with your businesses or your adventures, or, for example, Games and Things, Kabuki Games, the chainmail,
Our new
and things of
chainmail,
that
yeah.
nature. So if you guys could just, whenever you want, just talk a little bit about, your passion for those things.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, Games and Things, it's something that we started about 3 months ago, and it's something we talked about, Christina and I talked about, we've been talking about for a couple years now. Mm-hmm. And, if you guys are familiar with Games Workshop, once they bailed out, basically out of the city,
Right.
there's really not a lot of places that you can go and play. And then the places you do have are very commercial, so to speak. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have that feel. At least I didn't feel that community feel to it. And you go in and you got your little cliques here and you got your little cliques there, and they all know each other, and it's kind of like
The high school lunchroom.
right. But somebody mentioned it's kind of like Forrest
Yeah.
Gump on the bus.
Yeah.
Not here,
Yeah.
not here, and
Yeah.
it's just like, yes, you have that feel, and I'm like, no, we're not having that nonsense in our store.
Right.
Right? It may not work, but it's not going to work for like 3 or 4 months, but it's still going to be the way I do it.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And like Sean, for example, came in our store shortly after we opened, just to look at, check it out and kind of see what we got and play some Magic stuff. And talking to him and stuff, like, what does he do? What does he look for and whatever. And next thing you know, he's like one of our regulars.
I come down as often as I can, specifically for the environment.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big gamer. I mean, I don't really have the time or dedication for a lot of these other games, but I know if I want a quick game of Magic or if I want to learn a little more about 40K, Games and Things is the spot to go.
Right, yeah.
But the other thing I love about it is it's a community. It's a place you can come and hang out. Right? You're not judged. I don't pressure you to do anything. You don't. If you don't want.
How did I put it yesterday? I said, so you're kind of like the Cheers of gaming stores.
Right. And Sean, it's funny you say that, because with Sean, that's what I said to him. I'm like, Sean, you're going to be our norm. You walk in, everybody else, Sean. You got to have something with him to say every single day.
It's a good feeling, great feeling.
Yeah. But like Sean comes in, I know he has a baby. I know, I ask him all the time, hey, how's your little guy doing? And with Clint too. Clint just had a baby recently.
1 month old today.
Congratulations.
And we get to know that, and that's what I get out of this. It's not just playing and and what do you and I won't see you again until next week, but like I really care less what you do.
Right.
Right. So like with Sean, he comes in, we hang out, we talk. Sometimes it's about gaming. A lot of the times it's just about life in general.
Right.
And John JC over there.
That's me.
Right?
He's talking to me, bro.
Right, that's JC over there. And it's funny because you see him blushing and stuff, but when he's at the store, he's not. I mean, he's always looking over his shoulder because he's kind of creepy that way.
You just put me on blast.
But we know that about him, and we just kind of like let him jump, right? Make sure Sabrina ghosts aren't jumping out from nowhere. What happened? But but we have fun with it. We love it, and and that's it's like a locker room. And again, I played football for a long time, so you've got that. I've got that mentality anyway. And you come in, and like JC's gonna kick my ass later. But I love the man, and I'm gonna let him. I'll be like, okay, all right, that one was worth it. It was worth it, but and that's the fun we have back and forth with each other. So that's the community I want to have.
Yeah.
Not just about selling, because that, if it's a place you like, if it's people you enjoy being with, all that stuff will come.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? I mean, much like
Definitely.
the old
Most
saying,
definitely,
right?
yeah.
If you enjoy what you do, the money will come.
Right. Right.
And it's funny because like my girlfriend and I, she's looking over me like, yeah, you know what?
We need to start making some money.
Right. But but I mean, the reality is, that is the reality, in my opinion.
Right.
Right, and it will come. Right. It may not be for a little while.
Right.
But and so right now we struggle. We fight the good fight.
Right.
But it's on our terms.
Yep.
And we're the ones who control it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I enjoy about this.
Right. And I've been to games and things a couple of times, and I gotta tell you, like Sean was saying, the environment is amazing, and I love going to the shop.
Cool.
Even though I don't play 40K,
We can fix that.
Right. But like. That's not something that like keeps me out of the shop. Like people aren't like, man, you don't play 40K, you suck, get the fuck out of here. No, it's like, all right, well, cool. We have this going on, this going on. You want to check out Zombicide? We'll do whatever. Just come back to the shop. We really love you being here.
Make it rain in the shop.
Right.
And make it rain.
And it's funny because Clint just said something like there's no elitism in the store, and there isn't.
Exactly.
There isn't anybody that walks in there and they know that they're better than everybody else.
Exactly.
Right? Because the reality is they are better than everybody else, but everybody in the store knows that about themselves.
Right.
And if not, we try to make them feel that way.
Right.
Because the reality is that that's what we're all about, is making you feel what you are about is cool, and it's you're no less than anybody else, and that's what I love to do.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Because again, I played sports for a long time, and I get my ass kicked a lot. And you got to learn to be humble. Right? Because there is the time where you get to fight back. And there's nothing better than, like, as you walk away where they're bleeding and you just grinning at them like, yeah, motherfucker, I got you.
I do that shit on a daily basis.
Exactly. So, for example, Tony over here, he and I, we battle all the time. Right? Tony and I battle all the time.
What about you, bro?
And he'll go for a month straight just kicking the crap out of me. And, of course, needling me as we go. And I'm like, all right. Because he knows.
Leaving tags in his driveway.
He knows he's going to get as good as he's giving right now a couple of weeks later. When I finally, after lost sleep and restless nights, that I've worked out something, I'm going to beat his ass next time. And we do. And the guy, he knows I give it just as good as I get, too. So, and that is, this is what we have at the store, and I love it. I love that about the store.
Right. So, anyone else?
Go ahead.
What were we even talking about again? I got lost in Al's eyes again.
Kabuki games.
Oh yeah. So I'm the U.S. rep for Kabuki, which is we're a model manufacturer retailer. It's actually based out of Italy right now, and Rodolfo, my partner, my man partner. He's Italian, so he's super fucking handsome. So goddamn annoying. Damn Italians. Anyway. I ended up, I collected Kabuki models for a long time. The line is fantastic. And one day I actually, something got lost in the mail. I contacted him, and then we got talking back and forth. I started writing some fluff for him, and at a certain point he's like, hey, you should work with me instead of just doing this. And that's kind of how it got started. Wow. So, and we were like, hey, why are we not in the U.S.? I mean, it's an online store, so he sells everywhere. But he's like, yeah, I really need to kind of break into the market. So I spent the last year kind of setting up manufacturing for miniatures here in the States, up in Wisconsin. Wow. And, then we started this whole Kickstarter endeavor, and we're working on a game, miniature skirmish game, and then a bunch of other stuff's growing out of that. So it's been intense, and we're trying to make Kabuki not about just miniatures anymore, but increase and do everything.
Wow. Now, what kind of miniatures?
We have several lines. The best selling, imagine that, are the 21st century pinups, which are scantily clad women, which is a giant plus. I mean,
right?
Yeah. Women are awesome. I'm a huge fan of women. So we have Little Sisters, Big Sisters, which is the scale, 54 millimeter versus 28. And then we have Knights of Legend, which is it's like sci-fi fantasy models. They look a lot like the Primarchs. They've been compared to several times.
Matter of fact, this is one of them, and I will attest, they are beautiful models.
Yeah, they're fantastically detailed models. We want to, like, our niche for that is making sure that we can provide models for any game system. We don't want to target anything specific. So whether you like to play 40K, fantasy, privateer press games, anything that scale, we want to be able to provide for it. So, then we have Dark Messiah, which is Rodolfo's own world, which we're going to be busting out pretty soon. That's his oldest line, and that will be increasing hopefully within the next year. We're already brainstorming about a bunch of stuff there.
Nice.
And then our newest line is Lovecraft Nightmares, which is what we're running the Kickstarter for.
Okay.
And that's going to be, right now, it's for idols, about a foot tall idol of Cthulhu. And then stretch goals will be other, like Nyarlathotep and Shub-Niggurath, and expand that line, but also like relics, like fun stuff that like you could get your hands on, like like an invocation scroll, like on how to summon something, or like our collector's editions are going to have like tentacle candles that you can burn down, and pentagrams, and like relics that you can actually get your hands on.
Right.
And that's just that part. And then we're talking about games, miniatures, 54mm models, 70mm models. It's my head is going to explode if I go too much deeper down it, but it really blowing out that entire range of things.
Right.
I don't even know what else I missed. That's basically what it is right now. So it's been a large endeavor. Clint. Yeah.
Do you guys plan on starting some sort of actual game with this line of miniatures, with your design of miniatures? Like, you think you're going to get to the scale?
Funny you would ask that. Yes.
You're going to actually put out a game for this?
Absolutely. We are actually intending on, I'm working on a game right now. I'm developing the game with Rod called Metal Heart, which is basically a combination between, imagine Rock'em Sock'em Robots and race car driving. Like you have a franchise, and that franchise builds this one robot. And you go head to head like boxing. So boxing, race car driving combine in the future. Dark Messiah is going to have its own skirmish game, its own board game. And we're talking about making a chibi, I think that's pronounced right, chibi.
Yeah, that's right.
Cthulhu board game. And then a darker version of that as well. So
Nice. I've seen the Dark Messiah models, and I've used them in some of my 4th edition games and 3.5 games, and those models are amazing. So I had no clue that it was, Kabuki was the company. It was just Dark Messiah in there. So I'm really looking forward to everything growing and those games coming online.
Yeah, it's been a fever pitch lately. So my brain is fried, but I drink, so it'll get better.
Yep. So R&D chainmail. It's actually mainly I'm just the voice box. I'm the shining face and personality that talks at the table. My wife does all the hard work. She makes all the chainmail jewelry herself.
Wow.
We started really doing conventions. With our first one was Collision year 1. We did our first table set up there. It went great. We actually started teaching classes too. We did a couple of panels the last 2 years at Collision where we were teaching people how to do it. I've actually talked to Al. We're going to maybe do some classes there. We'll offer it on a Saturday where people come in, and we'll sit down, me and my wife, and I'll get up there and talk, and she'll show people how to make little stretchy bracelets, or she makes a chainmail stretchy bracelets and stuff like that. But it's kind of what it allows me to do is play my video games without driving her nuts, because that's what I do when I get home from work, my mindless video games, because it's something quick and dirty where she can sit down and instead of knitting, she's doing chainmail, and it's amazing. I mean, if you get a chance, you can stop by the table. She's got dice bags, everything else she's made for the convention.
My wife needs a dice bag.
Oh, she's got them.
I love that class, by the way. That would be awesome.
Awesome. Well, stop by the table. Talk to my wife. I'm just there to be the pretty face and voice, because I'm quite loud and intimidating and large. I'm not in outfit this weekend, but normally I'm in my Viking outfit too, where I'm selling at the booth with that. So.
Nice. And Chris.
Oh man, where do we even start? Katalyst is obviously first year here for this convention. We're working on our active plan right now. This is going to go for 5 years, no matter what happens. Make money, lose money, just to really have this here, develop the community, and then we'll see where we're going to go from there. We have a lot of plans that I don't really want to talk about because everything's sort of half-baked.
Absolutely.
We're waiting on some commitments from all sorts of different people, but we have a lot of really interesting things lined up. We're trying to make some content in-house here that you'll only be able to get here. You know, you'll be able to find it online, or you'll read about it, people talk about it, but you have to come out for the experience.
Right, absolutely.
And that's something, you always need some sort of draw. The great community we've got, the great feeling we've got here, that's fantastic. We want to keep that going. If we only do that, that'll be plenty for me. But we do want to add in these other elements.
Right.
And like Don has mentioned, I run another show called Collision Con. That's an animation, comic, gaming, cosplay show. So this one, Katalyst here, we got the 4 different types of gaming that we push equally.
Right.
We really divvied ourselves up and try and give everybody equal representation. So at that Katalyst show, Collision show, we split it between animation, which is like Japanese cartoons, American cartoons, comics, Eastern, Western, manga, that sort of thing. Gaming, which is everything we're doing here, more or less where this spawned originally.
Right.
Is that our gaming scene got so serious there that we thought, it's gonna be time one of these years, and that's why we were talking about it for so long, plan it out, get this right, get the feel right.
Right.
And then cosplay, which anybody that's not familiar with, that's just costumes.
Right.
Just dressing normal.
It's just dressing up. I mean, LARPers out there.
Hardcore,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a serious thing too. There's people get really, really serious about that. We have like a levied competition with cash purse prizes and stuff like that. So
very impressive.
It's
outfits there,
fantastic.
actually, yeah.
It's you talk about it, you joke about it, but this stuff is really impressive. Movie quality type stuff that we get. They as dedicated you have to be to run a Warhammer army or put together all these D&D campaigns is these kids dedicate their year to building this costume to come out and step on stage for 10 seconds. And that is their focus.
And the beautiful thing about that is you don't spend like a month building this amazing suit of armor and then you step up there and the next person after you is a flasher. And then you lose the competition to that guy because everybody laughs. That doesn't happen.
No, not at all.
But they gave me an idea for this show.
It sounds like he speaks from experience.
Yeah. Maybe just a little bit of fucking pain there, but
I think I remember you from a certain flashing incident. No. Yeah, but I mean that show's fantastic. We absolutely love Collision Con, but we're here to talk about Katalyst.
Right.
We run both events. They both happen just once a year. Like I said, Katalyst is going to go for 4 or 5 years, easy. No matter what happens, because we want this to really take on a life of its own. We're really dedicated. We got I think we have the feeling just right.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. I would totally agree with
I do
that.
not want to try and break what's not, fix what's not broken here. If we try and improve on this, we're going to mess something up. We're going to bring in a great big vendor, and everyone's going to, tell us to go screw ourselves. You sold out, we're leaving.
You're going to end up with the Wizards of the Coast Center Council, to take up the entire middle of the convention hall and do absolutely nothing but put out crap. So
we would love sponsors because I mean it makes putting on shows that much easier.
Right.
But there is a balance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even with sponsors, you control what the point of the convention is, right? If the point of the convention is buy stuff, then it's going to feel that way. If the point of the convention is discover the community, discover new experiences, and really enjoy gaming, like with real people,
correct.
You can do that with sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and they'll jump on board too.
Absolutely,
If they're smart.
Absolutely.
That's why Clint's here.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where they're doing it right here. Is that's what changed with the other big convention is they went to be a for-profit only convention. They lost sight of the people that come and pay them to be there, to play the games. And they're like, okay, well now we're just going to try and make as much money as possible because the people are just going to keep coming in waves. We don't care. Whereas this, I could see even with sponsors coming in, they could grow and use the sponsors to make the games better or the experiences better, where we can have more tables or more space or whatever that need comes down the road.
Right. Now, I do want to say though, from a Gen Con perspective, I still enjoy that show. My point is that the feel is completely different. Like it's like the difference between going to like you guys talk about Cheers. going to that kind of environment where everyone is friendly,
Correct.
and you can feel safe, you can trust people to try new things and not feel like it's, you'll be embarrassed. Going from that environment to like a club.
Yeah.
Where everyone's on
Are you
full
suiting
display.
up when you go out, or are you going in your scrubs and be like, I know these guys, it's gonna be fun.
Exactly.
Right. That's
Exactly.
a great analogy.
Exactly.
Great analogy.
So I think there's a difference there. One environment is good for certain things, but this environment is great for just about everything else. I think.
Yeah, I actually stopped going to Gen Con about 3 or 4 years ago because I felt that the vendor hall had taken such center stage on the convention that I used to, like when I went into Milwaukee, it was great. It felt, there was a vendor hall, but it wasn't the driving factor of that convention. It was like this. The gaming hall was a driving factor, and that's why I stopped going, and that's why I'm happy I now have this to come to, so I have a gaming hall to go to again.
And of course, that works for some people. Not with you, you're like, hey, I need to game. I don't have a lot of time to game.
Yeah.
I don't need to go here to buy this stuff. Which is exactly why you don't go to Gen Con if that was the case.
Correct,
But,
correct.
But there are people,
Well, and that's true.
And that's the beauty of all
yes.
of it, like we need the diversity with the different types of cons, so that way we can have the opportunity to pick and choose.
Correct.
Now, here's an interesting question, though, right? Going back to the whole grassroots and not selling out and whatnot. So, say 2-3 years from now, right? We're all living large because we've all done it right, and it's really paying off dividends, right? And all of a sudden, there's a couple of vendors over there. They're paying top dollar to have their spot there. Clint's blown up. He's paying top dollar because he can, and you see it and you charge it. And will we?
Will you?
Will we go there?
I actually have an end game already planned out. No matter how this goes, we lose money, make money, jackpot. We have to, the end game here. And this has always been my plan for any show that I ever put on, any show I'm affiliated with. I always try and impart this: is that you will run away from your core, your core values, that grassroots, if you don't plan ahead for it. Right. It's gonna happen.
Very true.
Whether it's by inches or miles, that's gonna happen because you lose sight, and you say, "Man, that is a nice paycheck. I need that Cadillac."
Exactly right. Right.
But we do have that end game planned out, and what we're doing is, we're gonna keep that entry value low. We're gonna, it's $20 for the weekend here. We don't sell one-day badges because we want you here multiple days. That is our thing. We get asked about that, but we could discount it and sell just one day. But we want you here 2 days. We want you to have so much fun that you get a room, just so you can come back first thing in the morning and start gaming again with your friends. Our end game is we will actually cap attendance if it comes to it. So like this hotel, if we booked up all the all the space they have available, there's like 10,000 people a day we could accommodate.
Right.
So if we run a 3-day weekend, that's 30,000 people.
Right.
We'll cap if we absolutely have to, and then what we'll do is we'll grow on the calendar, turn it a 4-day, 5-day,
Right.
that sort of thing. And I mean, I don't anticipate that happening in the next 5, 6, 7 years, but it could.
Right. Absolutely.
But because we have that end game plan there, we could do that, or we could, set it up to we have the event twice a year, and then people have more option to come on out, a bigger availability for people to really push what's coming out, the new games, the new grassroots stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's where we're at, where we're going.
Nice.
If we're charging Clint $100,000 for his booth because he's rich.
I guess that wouldn't be a problem if I had that kind of money.
Right, if he's rolling, we might not turn him down, but we're not going to let him cover the entire space with, we're not going to let him be excluded. We're not going to sell out.
It's not going to become Clint Con.
Yeah.
Right. Personal goal about it.
Exactly right.
That is the
Right.
Well, and when he talked about his plan too, when we were talking about it, and I talked about running a game here, that's part of my plan too. Is like one of the games I loved at the other convention was Living Dungeon. It ran for 30 years. I mean, it was a game every year people came to. So the game I started this year, I have about 6 or 7 years in my head of, people come and play every year. They come sit down. I'll let them keep their characters. We'll level them. They're going to maybe get a level this year out of playing for 3 days.
Right. And
that character will level over the years, and they can keep playing it and continue that story on so that they have something to look forward to when they come to the next convention to say, oh, I want to know, like when I cliffhang tomorrow, they're going to be aggravated as all hell and be like, I got to come next year to find out what the hell happened so that I can continue the story. And that's what I was thinking in my over-ending arc with this too. So,
Right.
Well, does that make me the bad guy then? Because I'm looking to get rich.
No. I mean,
that just makes you the fool.
I knew that. But it's funny though, because in talking with Christina, it's like, I tell my boys all the time, look, you got to be a shark. You always got to keep swimming. You got to keep moving ahead. You got to be striving forward.
Right.
And with that mindset, I'm like, maybe in a couple of years we'll get a second place. Maybe after that we'll get a third. Now we're franchising. Now we're living large.
Right.
Christina looks at me like, dumbass, shut up. How about we get a bigger place so we can do a little bit more, but keep the community? And all of a sudden, I tuck my tail between my leg and I'm like, you're right. So it's nice that I have her to keep us in check, because I gave all these grandiose ideas, and she's like, no.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having ambition. I mean,
No.
growing the con, doing more business, putting more lines of miniatures and different games. And, from my perspective, the Show podcast, growing a larger audience and doing things like this with the community. I think it's important to plan so that your core values don't get away from you, and so that you're making sure that you're doing the right thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, and I'm half kidding, obviously, but I mean, yeah, I would love as we continue to grow, not just us, but Katalyst. I mean, and that's what I love about being on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Because you see it grow, you see it develop. I remember when I was young, starting out in the corporate world, you'd hear all the old timers talk about like the wild parties they used to throw when the companies were just starting out, and they didn't know any better, right? And I want to be that old timer back in that I'm talking to the young kids like. Back in the day when Katalyst did it, and when Katalyst was young, this is how it was done. And so that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for.
Right.
And sit on the porch.
Right.
Remember your one Katalyst?
right.
Also it's nice too, because we're a bunch of jackasses. We don't have a lot that we can offer individually, but like coming together, we can come together and get a decent thing, a decent amount of work done.
Right.
Like we can't throw tons of money at the problem, so we have to be creative with it. We have to figure out what can we bring to the table, which makes a place unique. Because if you just throw money at it, it's like, all right, well, it'll be like everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're just going to buy the same thing that everybody else does.
Right.
But if you have to think about, what can I make? What can I bring? What can I do? You bring your own flavor.
I think therein lies the opportunity. Working together with a group of people and coming up with something unique that feels good for the audience, that feels good to us. I think that's what the opportunity is. To really grow something like Katalyst, for the next 5 years and beyond. Or
Most definitely.
Things, or kabuki models, or the chainmail, accessories and things of that nature, or the show podcast. So
most definitely.
Right. Definitely.
So I'm going to open it up some questions for the audience. You guys still there? Yes. All right. So you guys, what are some cool things you guys have seen at Katalyst 2014 so far?
So far, man, I mean, I came in last night. I wasn't expecting to be here, but I came in pretty late, and there was several groups of people, man, playing board games. There was a zombie side game going, and one of my buddies was like, let's throw down on some Sentinels of the Multiverse card game, and we started that, and there was another group of people playing some games. So, I mean, for being here that late at night, it was awesome to see people still throwing down in games. That's like old school gaming, you know what I mean? Like, you do it, you're here to play, you play. That's it. There's no, there's no time frames. I mean, I heard someone, he was mentioning, you got to go take your pills and check in and stuff. You have to do that, but let's get back to that game. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen until it's time to pass out. And I think we end that game like 1:30 or something like that, and it was still like, should we play something else or should we just go collapse?
Wow. Wow.
So I mean, just the fact that everybody's into what's going on, that's why everybody's here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I came by yesterday morning. I'm actually helping Al out here, doing a little bit of work for him, trying to just make it a little easier on him.
Right.
And I found myself spending a lot more time gaming than doing anything else. I can't help it. Everybody's here. Everybody's down to play, and it's nice to just meet up with total strangers. Because I was part of a zombie side game last night that lasted 2 hours. I mean, just sitting there strategizing with complete strangers, talking, and trying to figure out the best way to beat the horde. It was one of the, it was one of the best times I've had in a while. That didn't include something that Shouldn't be mentioned.
I think everybody here knows what he's talking about.
We're
grown-ups.
And the great thing I love about that is that my crew is so busy, getting involved with the gaming, right? Because I mean, there's so much excitement, so much energy going on that they all forgot about the booth,
Right.
And then I get a call in the middle of the night. Hey, Al, you have the money bag? Turn the place apart.
These guys were like, call him right away. I was like, you better look before we call him.
It's the same
Since I'm
thing
not
I
having
said,
to wake
too.
up to come out here with this money bag. I'm like, what do you mean the money bag's missing?
Right, so I mean, that's the great thing. They were so into the whole convention and the whole scene and the whole feel that they just kind of like, forget the booth. Let's go jump in on this before we lose out, which was. It was, no harm, no foul.
But,
Like I need any more
But if
gray
there was
hair.
harm, then
But if there was harm, right, it would be a big foul.
I mean, realistically, though, how many conventions have you guys actually been to? Like Gen Con, I've been there. You guys have all been there.
Yeah.
How many conventions have you actually been to where the vendor brings his ass from around the table and starts throwing dice? Like, for real, that just does not happen.
It doesn't happen anywhere
Doesn't
anymore.
happen.
Yeah.
It's
Unless
not
it's like
paid.
scripted.
Right, exactly.
All right, so
Like
here goes
sales
my new
pitch.
game system. 20 minutes. We're gonna hear this, blah 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 blah. It's like,
You like it, right? Buy it. You know what I'm saying? We got crates of it. Buy it. That does not happen. And for the store owner or shop owners or vendors who just come from around the table, so you know what? I'm gonna roll up my sleeves. I'm here to play some dice, bitches. Let's go. And that's awesome.
So everybody was getting involved. That was a great thing. I mean,
Yes.
I didn't see anybody who was still left. Once everybody kind of left. Customer base wise, that wasn't doing something. That wasn't meeting up with a group of strangers and playing a new game.
Yeah, definitely willingness to mingle and ingratiating yourself into the group. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely. So what types of games? So there's like video games and tabletop games, and there's from a tabletop perspective, there's miniature games like Dungeons and Dragons, role playing. There's LARPs. Let's go around when you bring the audience into this as well, and just basically everyone say what type of game you play most of the time. So we'll start with the audience. What do you play mostly?
Right now, I've been playing a lot of board games. Last couple years, I've been getting into a lot of board games and card games. I started, about 25 years ago, I started playing D&D, and I've been playing miniature board games, Warhammer 40K, things like that. Not big into the card games, but a lot of other types of games. Obviously video games, but mainly miniature tabletop games, D&D, and board games.
Okay. All right.
I personally tend to be a LARPer. I definitely like getting involved in LARP, role-playing a character, creating a backstory, seeing it come to life, and interacting with other people. It'd be a great experience. But here too, I've also been getting more into board games, especially since the Multiverse. It's a fantastic game. Other than that, this place has been great. It's biased to a few other things. A lot of people more gaming. Not something I'm personally into, but I can definitely see the appeal.
Right. Awesome.
Well, I've been gaming for 35 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've done pretty much everything: LARPs, miniatures, card games, role playing, and I mainly focus on role playing now. Occasional forays into other stuff.
Right.
I'm also a game designer. I write role playing games and board games.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'm
Good.
tired of all the crap that's out there. It's like I want this role, and this role, and this role between different systems. Why don't I just write my own game and make the game I want?
Right.
Yeah.
If I sell 5 copies, I'm happy.
Right.
If nobody else buys it and they all think it's crap, well then screw them. I'm
Right.
happy. So that's where it's at.
Nice. Awesome.
I'm a Magic player more than anything else. I've always been drawn more to card games, but since going down to Al's shop, games and things, I've started playing a lot of different stuff. I mean, I got into 40K, number of board games. I played D&D a couple times through meeting this group of people, and I mean like a lot of these other guys, I've had my little niche, what I'm comfortable with, but you see so many other things, and you see how much fun the people that are playing them are having, you'd be dumb not to join in.
Right.
I like tabletop games, miniatures, and I started playing card games when I started hanging out gaming things. So I just love card games, so I try any card game that there is. I just try it. Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh last night.
Nice.
So it's one of those things, and then just the fact that we're so media-driven society. we're always on our phones, computers, video games, and all this stuff. It's when you come into a shop, a gaming store, whatever. You just create those social skills that are being lost.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then this, I grew up like I was very social. I had hanging around people and all that stuff. And then coming into a shop like this, you deal with people and their personalities. They're either goofy, either they're serious, but there's a blend and people respect each other.
Right.
And we crack a joke about somebody, we say something inappropriate, but nobody takes it personal because the environment you're in.
Right.
Until you go home and you're like, hey, I relax, my problems were gone away, and it is what it is.
Right.
And you say, so if you're married or you have a girlfriend, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna go to the shop today. It's gonna be my day. They understand it, and you go in and you just. It is what it is.
Or you take them with you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
I mean, and it's a good thing about like Al Shop and if you come in, you play your tabletop game. There's board games. You can play Connect 4, Life, Monopoly, whatever the heck it is.
Yes, I played a game of Connect 4. I haven't played that since my daughter was like 3. And I got my ass kicked again.
It's funny that I have never played that game, and just last week, me and my youngest, he was hanging out with us, and we played for the first time, and he smoked me 5 games in a row. Because I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
But yeah, you can play.
But you can play Warhammer, yeah.
Right.
You can't play tic-tac-toe.
I dropped that fourth one when he was looking at me. Actually, Chris and I were playing one, and I dropped the chip in, and he looks at me with this big ass grin from ear to ear.
I think you lost.
Right, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are you grinning about? He's like, I got you. I'm like, how? I'm looking at the board, and he's like, I got you 3 different ways. I'm like, how? Is that even possible? I'm like, bullshit, I don't see it. And he dropped that last chip, and all of a sudden, damn.
That sound effect in slow motion. Yeah.
And that's funny because that's exactly the way Al beat me last week. He was like, I got you. I was like, where?
That even happened.
I was playing a game by myself. I was over there by myself. I was just dropping my chips in. I like the noise it makes.
Oh, let's see. The first role-playing game I started with, well, technically that would be when my parents played the role-playing game of Love, and I was created. But
Yeah, buddy. That's how we all did.
but it's kind of ironic actually that if I were to really think back to what really got me in the role-playing games, it's going to sound silly, but on the Atari 2600, they had E.T. and Indiana Jones, and those really were role-playing games for a basic set on the they were not the greatest games in the world, but those were games where I started and said, holy cow, there's more depth than just jumping over some crocodile heads and swinging on the swing. And then I got into, like, in high school, into the Final Fantasy games, of course. That was pretty big when I was in high school. And then my friend started playing Palladium Rifts. We started with Rifts, which was super complex for somebody that had never really got into it. But we had fun. We just used the system, did what we could to play with it. Moved from Rifts to playing D&D with a buddy in college. It was just me and him in his French room. We made characters. He ran the game and played a character, and I played another character. It was a phenomenal experience. I mean, that was great. We started going to Emperor's headquarters that we were talking about, where I got to see these epic games of Napoleonic miniatures that I would never play because it takes you 10 weeks to move one army like a half an inch. It's like, wow, what'd you do? Absolutely nothing, but I moved over that hill. It was great, and I loved it. I mean, it was great to watch these guys who got into it. And then I got into college and played. I met a group and played D&D in college in the dorms, and we continued to play. I used to drive in every week. I live out near Chicago. I live in Elmwood Park, which is outside Chicago. I would drive out to Northern every Wednesday, play till 3 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep for 2 hours, drive back to work at 6 in the morning, and I worked the whole day. And I did that for 4 years after I left college playing this game, and it was just phenomenal. Those are the memories that like I've made some of those here. Those are the memories that I'm just like, oh, that's stuff I love. You get into it, and you're just like, man, I remember doing this and this and this, and role playing for me is an escape. I play video games, don't get me wrong, but video games for me are I have to go to bed in 2 hour type deal, so I can sit down and play like Mordor is what I'm playing now, and I can play that for an hour, kill some orcs. Yeah, exactly. It's like a nicotine patch. It's like 1 second, push the patch really hard. There we go. Go to bed. Get up in the morning. Watch and repeat. That's my history of gaming. I mean, I've tried everything. Board games, card games. I was never really good at card games unless it was like drinking games. But I've done the whole reign.
What do you play mostly now?
D&D is what I play mostly now, when I can. It's hard to do because of my work schedule.
Third edition, 3.5.
My friends play 3.5 because they have all the books, so that's what I play. I actually prefer AD&D. I'm much more like role-playing. I don't care about winning my game. I want to, and I'm not saying you can't do that in 3.5. It just depends on the group you have. But where I was saying the kids nowadays, they like these systems because the systems go, here's everything for you. Easy button, do them, I'm done. I don't have to think about what I want to try and do. And what I love about playing those old games is I could sit there and be like, oh, I'm attacking this guy. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to take my sword, I want to fling it at that wall, I want it to bounce off that wall and hit that guy in the head. What do I got to roll? And I could just roll with, dex and its strength and everything else. There's no like feat to do it or whatever. I love the imagination part of the game. Yeah, exactly. I'm just playing. I'm doing what my stupid ass would do if I was a fighter living in some crazy ass fantasy world that didn't have to worry about what was going to happen to me tomorrow. It's like,
Or physics.
Yeah, or physics. Well, there are no physics. It's magic. It's all good.
Chris?
I started out playing card games, actually. I was a really hardcore Magic gamer growing up. And as a kid, I just couldn't afford to keep up with all the editions, and I fell out of gaming entirely for quite a while. I mean, I've been video gaming my whole life because that's just when I was born.
Right.
I've been keeping up with that, but board gaming now, I wish I had time to get into miniatures. I wish I had time to stay on top of all the card gaming. I wish I had a group that could run D&D at like 7 to 9 a.m. Once every 3 weeks. But you got to do what you can. So board gaming is really the big thing for me. And it's a little selfish about this show. I can go around and see all these games that I don't have access to. It's just check it out before I have to buy something to sit down and try and play it. Try and get friends out. Life catches up to you real quick, so it's hard to keep up with, but I do try. Board gaming is really where it's at for me.
Well, I'm 35 now, I think. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Sounds about right.
Sure.
Born in '78.
Sounds about right.
There's math involved. So I grew up, like Don was saying, with like Atari.
Yeah.
So I started playing D&D with my brother right around the time that Nintendo came out. And I mean, I was just a tiny little kid, too stupid to even really contemplate anything.
For the kids, he means the NES, not the N64.
Yeah, Nintendo, like Nintendo.
The real Nintendo.
So I've played basically from that point. I've been role playing card games and video games. Like it's at an equal level.
Right.
And as a side note, it's really interesting to see what the video game world has been able to do for the gaming world, because they have been able to visualize so much of like RP elements and like introduce things that like you would never even think of, different styles. I mean, just look at what all these video games that come out with Armor, like what that's done for like art, in terms of like in the books now, where you have this amazing art like in the rule book. Side note, anyway. So the big thing that I do right now, I still have a gaming group that we play either like Dark Heresy, Death Watch, like 140K role-playing games, or we play Exalted once a week. We've done that for 4 years now, and as I previously mentioned, I just had a son a month ago.
Congrats.
And
Congrats, brother.
Yep, a little kale.
It's all downhill from there.
And I missed one session. So I missed one session so far, and that just makes my fucking skin crawl. Because, you're just like, oh man, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. And you know what? It's somebody else was mentioning you.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sean.
Sean was mentioning like, he tells his girlfriend, hey, I'm gonna go down the store and have some fun. Like one of the things that my wife Sam has always said is, she's like, yeah, go game, go have fun with your friends. I know you're not at the bar. I know that you're not out at a strip club. I know that you're not out with another woman. You're out with your friends having a blast. And if you do it in our house, or if you do it at your buddy's house or the game store, like that's a huge component. Like she knows all my friends, all the people I game with, and she knows they're cool. And it is It's one of those things that's like, hey, what would you rather be doing? Having fun with my friends here playing this game, or doing something else.
Exactly.
And once again, it's a community element. It's so yeah, I don't even know if I can answer the question, but
yeah. So mostly
mostly RP games, and I supplement it with video games when I can. And I played 40K hardcore for a long time until GW kind of shot themselves in the foot multiple times. So now I play Dystopian Wars when I can model game, miniature tabletop.
Right. Okay. Now,
I actually started like when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Remember the little army green men?
Oh yeah, I love those. I still have mine.
Right, and I always remember going through comic books and the back pages. They always had like the different sales and stuff. And I remember ordering a thing. It was a tank with a little rubber band that shot this plastic missile out. So I used to set that stuff up, and I grew up with a sister, an older sister, so I never had a brother to fight with or whatever. And I couldn't stand my cousins
That's
anyway.
why I can't fight for shit.
Right, which is why I can't fight shit. Exactly. Which is why Christina beats my ass.
Damn, son.
But hey, I'm still confident in myself. Okay?
All right.
I can take an ass whooping like
got your
nobody's
back, bro.
business.
We got your back, bro.
But so I started with the little green man, and then remember the old electric football game?
Yeah, the
vibrating
and they go.
one,
They always spin in circles. I used to take those guys and sit there for hours and just paint them, like with high detail, because they come painted, pre-painted. It was a horrible paint job, and I would only paint their names and numbers on it and whatnot with all the stripings and everything, and that just kept going. I got to college, and a buddy introduced me to 40K Epic. You guys know the game Epic. I mean, you can field massive armies, and I love that stuff. I love being the general in charge of massive armies, moving whole divisions. Because and then at Emperor's headquarters, we would do Napoleonics as well. And I would get involved in some of that. An old Civil War game, Johnny Rev, which I started building a small force. And it's the tabletop stuff is what just intrigues me.
Right.
All the tactics and strategy that go behind it. It's a huge, more elaborate chess game.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and that's what it is. A much more elaborate chess game, and I love that, pitting my wits, my skills against the guy across from me.
Right.
And normally, I end up on the short end of the stick because they're usually smarter than I am. But it's still a hell of a lot of fun.
Right.
And you get to learn, you get to know the different techniques and different tactics and stuff.
Right.
And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the tabletop stuff. And right now, like Clinton was mentioning, Dystopian Wars, which is this naval fleet game. It's set in the steampunk 1870s era, and it's just fabulous. And I literally cannot get enough of it right now.
One of the things you just said too is that, like, whenever with tabletop gaming, it's not like you just draw a card. You draw a card. My card is higher than yours, so I win. The fun that you take away from it, because a lot of people will play a game and they'll be like, "I lost. This sucks," or "I'm angry about it." But with a lot of the games that we enjoy, you may lose, but you're like, well, you know what? I lost that. But this guy, oh man, that dreadnought blasted a hole through your aircraft carrier.
Right.
Like, that was a defining moment. Like, it's cinematic. You see a moment where you're like, this team lost, but that was awesome what they did to that thing. They had their highlight moment. And that always tends to happen at least once in a game, where you never just get tabled unless, unless you're out. All these other guys have solid, moments.
Right, I have yet to experience, but that's what keeps me motivated, because I know one day that day's gonna come.
Right.
I'm still gonna get tabled, but I'm gonna get that moment. Well, actually, that's not true. I had that moment with Clint once. We were playing a game, and he was just mopping the floor with my dystopian fleet. But my submarine came in and wrecked his aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
So that's, he's smiling and laughing about it because, like, still killed you. I'm like, well, but I got that one ship. So for me, it's tabletop.
I think for me, I've been playing like D&D for a long time. I played Risk for a little bit. I played a little Shadowrun, a little Cyberpunk, but it's been mostly D&D for me right now, and video games. So right now, it's primarily like board games, 4th edition D&D, if you can believe it, and video games.
What kind of video games?
So I've been playing a lot of Destiny.
I got play beta.
Right, Destiny, or trying to play a lot of Destiny. The Last of Us is the game I was playing before
Yes.
that.
I heard it's phenomenal.
Make
a
you
little
cry.
bit of Transistor, I was playing that. It's a smaller game on the PS4. Before that, Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Jiggy Advanced Edition.
Super Happy Monkey Max.
Hey, you guys laugh, but that's actually what it's called.
Yeah,
it's called.
it's ridiculous. Before that, it was like Dead Rising 3. So primarily like the next gen games, video games. You know, that's pretty much. It's kind of like what you guys were saying. It's like sort of a staple. You can do it right away. You don't have to like set up. But I actually run a 4th edition game. We actually do it virtually.
Do you
we
use
like a virtual tabletop?
D20.net or something like that, or one of those type of pages?
Yeah, and it's really cool. It calculates a lot of stuff for you, and you can focus on like the storytelling aspect of it, and like just really like that stuff. Instead of like, all right, so initiative, okay, blah blah blah, and all right, roll dice, damage, all right, 4 plus blah blah blah. Okay, all right, what were you guys doing? All right, cool. So let's get into the role playing now. It manages a lot of that stuff, so you can focus
More story
primarily. Yeah, you can focus on like the story. And when you're away from the people, I have a group that are all like professionals. They have kids, and we set up a virtual time. We get on Skype, and then we share this virtual tabletop, and we can just play it as if we were right next to each other. So it's pretty cool how technology in the LARP game that you were talking about, how those tools are coming up to enhance and sort of enable good old fashioned creative role playing. I think role playing games have a really important role in like fostering creativity.
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely. Sure.
Well, and social interaction too, because I was an introvert when I was a kid. That's why I said Atari and all them. That was my stuff because I could do it by myself. Right. I didn't have to see anybody. When I really started playing like D&D and Rifts and all that, it really brought me, or gave me the ability to communicate with people and get out there and come out of my shell and socialize.
Absolutely,
Right.
and like I've played the game forever. We all have, and you have those people in your gaming group where you see those people where you're like, yeah, you have no fucking social skills. Like, you have no social skills.
And I feel bad about myself because of that.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. Like, let's hang out, man. But it's one of those steps that, like, because a lot of the times these communities last for so long, where you'll see the same person, you'll know them for a while. It's a guy you always make fun of. But in 5 years, you might, you have the foresight to kind of step back and look at it and be like, wow, you've really grown.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
You came here where you couldn't even talk to me without insulting me because you just couldn't.
Right,
And
right.
now you're talking to other people.
Exactly.
You've branched out and went in other groups and you've learned, and a lot of the times they wouldn't have that opportunity because they don't have that soundboard to be like, dude, you can't do that. Sorry, you're being a dick. I got to call you on it.
Right.
Whereas other people wouldn't even give them the opportunity. And I
Right.
think gaming is a great place for people to come to with that context. So that is at the center. And the byproduct of that is learning how to socially interact with people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's huge because you can't interact with people, then you're gonna fail in life.
Life's a lot.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
It's funny, and we all play video. I play video games. I play Madden a lot, some FIFA. But to me, it's still just mindless. And like you guys were saying, it's a patch, it's a quick fix. You get it done, down and dirty, and you're done.
Right.
But with the store, and I've had people ask, "Oh, you're doing video games? You're gonna sell video games?" I no, because that's what I want. I want the interaction. I want the social skills where we can hang out and learn from each other and talk to each other without being on headsets from thousands of miles away.
Correct.
Just screaming at the
Exactly,
screen
I'm
like
screaming at the
cuss words
screen.
over and over and
Right,
over.
'cause if I'm
Like,
gonna-
dude, you wouldn't do that if you were sitting right here.
Teabag.
But if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna grab those dice and I got you to throw it at. Now I can take my frustrations out of you. As my older son would attest to, I would always tell him we played Madden in a league with some buddies in his basement, and I tell him all the time, look, you gotta grow up. You gotta quit throwing these tantrums when you get your ass kicked. And invariably, it was always me grabbing that $50 controller and smashing it on the wall. But but we still had that interaction, that interplay,
Right,
and the guys would be like, "Whoa, this motherfucker's crazy! It's a game." But in the store, I can have that. And Tony will attest, and Christine will tell you, been 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden it goes dead quiet because he and I are ready to kill each other. But again, you don't have that, if you can't work it out, and we work it out all the time, right? And it does develop the social skills, and you realize. At the end of the day,
and there's been times that if it gets heated up and you know what, this is stupid. We'll walk away from the game, watch some TV, watch Walking Dead or whatever. When that's over, come back and play the game, and like it's just ignorance.
Right. And you develop that though. You develop and you realize that you know what, there are some barriers I can't cross because there's going to be consequences.
Yeah.
So that's the aspect I love about this as well.
Well, and you develop critical thinking skills too, which are huge. I mean, I have a very high. I don't have a job that takes a lot of word skills, which is why I have a hard time coming with the words for it. But I have a very technological job. I'm a designer, so I've taken a lot of stuff I learned from role playing, and I can apply that to my job when I'm working on a new product. And I can time frame all my stuff. I could build these great charts in Excel. I could do all this because I had to make character sheets before, and I know how to make all these really crazy little details. And now,
exactly right. It's funny that when I called my mom when we opened the store, I called my mom to let her know, hey mom, by the way, opening up a store, starting a little business.
She started crying.
Well, no, she's like, oh, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, it's miniature war game. And she's like, wait a minute. Like when you were little with the little soldiers you would paint?
You're playing with toys?
And I said to her, who knew, Mom? Years later, me painting those little soldiers and moving them around got us a business.
Right.
Oh.
So you're right. All the skills you learn, all the ideas you develop in your mind, you can actually put it to real world use.
It's funny because sometimes you'll be in some social interaction at work, and in the back of my head I'm just thinking, I'm rolling a charisma check. This guy's failed his charisma check. This guy, I don't want to talk to you. Get away from me. I disbelieve what you're saying. Hey, I want nothing to do with you.
You failed your check. You failed your check.
Yeah.
You failed your check. Back up.
So I think just the diversity of like the different gaming styles, I'm gonna call it like almost like a martial art that people have, even at the table and in the audience, just demonstrates how open the Katalyst 2014 is to different types of gamers.
Absolutely.
So
Most
everyone's welcome, and I think that's an amazing part of this convention this year.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, without all of these different styles, we wouldn't be able to give everybody equal representation, and that's a big part of this whole grassroots thing.
Right.
I mean, if you got somebody that all these social skills we were talking about, you have someone that hasn't had that experience, maybe they can take those first steps here.
Right.
Because you have all these guys that have played forever.
Yep.
And done all this before. They have the history. You come in here, even if you're fresh out, you're a young guy, whatever, young gal, doesn't matter. Maybe you just live in front of like your World of Warcraft or whatever it might be. I don't even know what the current is that still a thing?
Yeah, well, it's still
Yeah.
Yes, and it's bigger.
It's
Oh,
even
it's bigger.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you can have zero social skills because you only interact with your monitor.
Right.
You could still step in here and you'll take that first baby step just by coming here.
Right.
And you're going to talk to people. It might be awkward, but we're not going to completely tear you. Just don't talk to Al.
Because it cuts you down.
Punch you.
So we've been going for a while, and what I'd like to do now is basically run around, go around the table and just basically give you guys a chance to, some parting shots, maybe how people can locate you, how people can get a hold of your products, and just, some closing thoughts. So we'll start with you, Don, again.
Well, what Chris was saying about coming here and coming here, it made me think of a really good analogy. So you can almost come to Katalyst as a caterpillar and leave here as a butterfly. You come in as a game. Yeah, the big mean-looking guy with the stop thinking, screw all you. But it's true. You come in here and you break out of that shell and you become what you want to be. One of the greatest experiences is when you see a kid sit down and play and they do all this stuff and you just see the gears going in their head and that kid is really thinking. It's not just doing, and that's what you need, and that's what I hope to see in the years to come with here. You know, we see it now, and hopefully down the road we'll see that happen here.
Right.
You know, and as far as seeing us, R&D Chainmail, we're on Facebook. We don't actually have a webpage yet. It's still, my wife just does this on the side at home. But we'll link it through games and things and such like that, where you can see it. Well, when this podcast comes up, I'll make sure I share that on there and people can see it.
R&D
Chainmail. R&D Chainmail, yep. And we're on Facebook, so you can find us on there. Actually, you probably can find us through Katalyst page too. I think we're listed on.
Yeah,
I think we posted on there. So. And right now, we're not doing any online orders or anything. It's mainly conventions, and then we might end up doing some stuff where we're selling at the store too. So you can come by and see items there.
Okay. All right.
Definitely. Well,
and thank you, Chris.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Not a problem. Katalyst Gaming, you just look us up. It's Katalyst, gamingconvention.com. I'm sorry, KatalystGaming.com. I'm not even here. We didn't sleep last night. We just kept going.
Only day two.
Only
more to
day.
go.
Oh, we got another one to go. KatalystGaming.com. That's just with the K at the front. You can find us on Facebook. Find us, online. You look at Al's page, you'll find us there. You find us just about anywhere. Our other show is collisioncon.com, and it's also with a K, just the first one. But I mean, we're gonna be going. You'll find us probably in the video description when this goes up. Really, really easy. We're on Twitter. We're on every social media you could think of.
Okay, right.
Check us out. Come on out. If you see this before we're over this weekend, definitely stop by. If you're saying hi, check out all these cool guys. Say hi. Give Al some shit.
Play some games.
Play some games.
Play some games.
Yeah.
All right, Clint.
So you can check me out at kabukimodels.com. And also for our Kickstarter, which we're launching October 15th, is lovecraftnightmares.com. And that will automatically link you to our Kickstarter page. And then the goal of that is once we're done with the Kickstarter, and if it is successful, which I hope it is, and hopefully we hit our stretch goals, so we have a fairly robust product line initially, is to actually turn lovecraftnightmares.com into more of an open forum page, so people can upload their writings and fluff, have a blog there, arts, so it will encapsulate everything Lovecraftian.
Nice.
So in addition to linking back to Kabuki Models, to if anybody wants to buy anything, which would be horrible. So that's that. And then if you have any questions for Kabuki Models, you can contact me at the address that will probably be linked in this somehow.
Cool. All right, Clint, now?
Well, you can find me at alstoocoolforwords.com. Kidding, actually. You can find us at Games and Things on Facebook. It's Games &Things. We don't have a webpage yet. We're working at one, but I'm not as technologically advanced. I can't even get my words out as I would like to be, but we're working on that. Eventually, we'll get the page up. But gamesandthings.com. Games and Things on Facebook, and we will be linking all the guys' information as well, so you can see all their products and all their lines through our Facebook page if you so desire. Or if not, even better, you can come out to Games and Things in Elmwood Park. It's 7837 West Belmont. About a mile and a half or so west of Harlem on Belmont, and it's it's a great little place to come hang out. Christina and I have some bigger plans, hopefully for the beginning of next year, of 2015, in turning it into a gaming cafe. Where you come in, have a sandwich, sit down, watch a little TV, and like you, for example, a psychology major. If you don't want to come in and game, you just want to come in, maybe have a cup of coffee, sit down with Sexy Dan out there, and just talk psychology. I mean, just a place you come hang out, give a shout out. You're still coming in games. It's a lot of little different things that we're working on to improve, the experience for everybody when they come in to see our place.
Awesome. Excellent. And the Show podcast, you can actually access that at theshowshowpodcast.com. We got the website up yesterday, and that's where you can find the podcast. We haven't submitted for iTunes yet because we were working on a logo and we want to make sure we do it right. So expect that to happen in the very near future, but it will also be linked at on the Games and Things page on Facebook as well. So, well, guys, I think we've come to the end of this the panel at Katalyst 2014. Thanks for your time. I had a great time. What about you guys?
Yeah. Great time. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much for coming out and having us.
Yeah, most
No
definitely.
problem.
And I do want to thank Chris for, like I said, walking in and inviting us out here to partake. I mean,
Absolutely.
This is a great experience. Got to meet. I mean, I never would have met Don if I didn't.
Exactly.
If we weren't here.
That's why this is great.
Exactly right. Exactly right. There's so many great people you meet, so many great things you experience. It's a fantastic place, and I want to thank you personally for having us out here.
Yes, most definitely.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, you guys have a good one, and thanks for joining us, audience that are going to be watching this and listening to us.
Yes.
And the audience there, let's give a hand for the audience as well.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
I'm here all week.
We had a false start, and we appreciate you guys sticking with us through the real version and everything. So,
Podcast 3.0. baby.
yes, 3.0. All right, well, that's going to be calling it a wrap there, and you guys, thanks again.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good job. Good job. That was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Excellent.